right now, let's talk about Adrian Peterson because it just broke about an hour ago that he has been reinstated. The NFLPA won their lawsuit against the NFL on Peterson's behalf. The union argued that Goodell acted outside the authority in November when he suspended Peterson until at least April 15th for disciplining his 4-year-old son with a switch in May. Let's talk to Albert Breer about that, NFL.com. He joins us right now on the phone. Albert, what more can you tell us? Just because he's being reinstated, is there more to this, or is it?
I mean, Mike, the first thing, he hasn't officially been reinstated.
Okay.
But what they've in effect done here is they've sent the decision back to the CBA arbitration process under very narrow guidelines. And what they're saying is that what the judge is saying here is that you can't try him under the new conduct policy. You have to try him under the old conduct policy, and that would mean he couldn't serve a suspension really of more than 2 games. He already served 6. So it's almost impossible to envision a scenario here where this thing gets sent back to the arbitrator and there's anything but a decision to reinstate him. The judge has kind of painted the arbitrator, whether it's Harold Henderson again or someone else, into that corner. So there's a chance here that Lynch just goes ahead and reinstates him. They could go to arbitration, but then, of course, they could wind up taking it to a higher court and seek an injunction to get the suspension put back in place while the case is being tried.
Albert, could this be much ado about nothing? Because what was the possibility of Adrian not being brought back into the league even in April when he was?
Yeah, I mean, we had 6 weeks left, and that's the thing. You know, I mean, this is going to come down to a matter of principle. I mean, I think there will be some people at the league office who probably say, you know, we've got 6 weeks left. What are we fighting for anymore? You know, we already made our point. Let's just move on. There could be some matter of precedent here where other people are pushing to say we've got to make sure that the legal precedent remains on our side, so let's take this thing to the circuit court. So this is where the lawyers get involved, Mike, and this is where things become more complicated than me or you are qualified to handle.
Well,
but,
not just.
I would say the likelihood is that he gets reinstated. The question is how quickly it happens, because the league year starts on March 10th, and right, that's less than 2 weeks away. That's when free agency starts. So I know that's what he's been looking at as kind of the goal, to try and get reinstated before the league year begins. And this is a major victory in that pursuit.
Well, it could be about principle, but also could it be about money as well, because he lost money during last season. So if the arbitrators basically said that he shouldn't have been suspended so long.
You certainly could. I mean, he lost 6 game checks,
you
know, and so based on how much money he was making last year, and I'll pull up the numbers for you. I mean, he was last year he made. I'm looking here now. The base salary for 2013 for him, you know, he took home. God, I wish I was better at looking at these sheets.
Okay.
He took home
a lot of money.
He took home a little less than $12 million last year.
A lot of money.
So it's 6/16 of that. If you say he should have only been suspended for 2 games, well, then he could go ahead and seek 4 game checks, which is a significant amount of money. I mean, that'd be almost $3 million. You know, so he certainly could make that argument that he deserves some of those game checks back. That's something that's going to be fought in the background, of course, after the reinstatement happens, whether it's today, tomorrow, a week from now, or whenever.
Talking to Albert Breer, NFL media on Rich Eisen show. I'm Mike Hill filling in for Rich today, talking about the Adrian Peterson situation. NFLPA has won its lawsuit against the NFL to try and have him reinstated back into the league. Now, the big question isn't about when Adrian Peterson comes back into the league. Most people think he'll be reinstated regardless of all the issues that are going on right now. The big question is, where will he play next season? Everybody knows about the big confrontation the agent had with the brass to the Minnesota Vikings at the Combine. What is the latest on where Adrian will play next season?
Well, my understanding is Adrian's real problem with the organization came with the lead lawyer in this case, which is Kevin Warren. And if you follow this, you know, going back to September, the Vikings worked with the league on what to do in this case. And, you know, right or wrong, I know Peterson looked at it and said, well, Kevin Warren's the guy who was responsible for working with the league and conspiring to have me miss the entire 2014 season. And 2 weeks ago, Kevin Warren was promoted to chief operating officer of the Minnesota Vikings. So that is an issue that would certainly need to be ironed out before Adrian Peterson returns there. What I can tell you, Mike, is that the coaches, some of the front office people on the football side of the building want him back. and they've made an effort to get that message across to him. Now, obviously, they've been limited in how much they can communicate to him, but I know there are people on the football side of that building who have done what they can to try and make sure that he knows that he is wanted by a lot of people in that building. My belief is Mike Zimmer badly wants him back in 2015 on their roster after everything they went through. But this is really, a lot of this is going to be up to Peterson. He's got financial security that gives him the leverage to go and fight for a trade if he does want out. And because his number is so high, he does have what could wind up being, in effect, a no-trade clause. So that part of this story is just getting started. I think there will be a very serious effort on the football side of the Vikings building to have Adrian Peterson back in 2015. But obviously there are a lot of other things at work.
Yeah, a lot still to be decided when it comes to Adrian Peterson and his future. Albert Breer, NFL.com contributor, joined us here on The Rich Eisen Show. Thank you, Albert.
You got it, Mike.
The Rich Eisen Show, weekdays at noon Eastern. On Audience.